Hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Stockshow Confidential. I'm Terry Jordan, your host. This week we're in Louisville, Kentucky at the North American. We're going to introduce you to Keith Harding. He is our Lincoln judge. And then we're going to have a visit with Harold Workman. He is our president and CEO. And then we'll visit with Gerald Buck. He is one of our cattle judges. And we're going to round it out in Churchill Downs, where you'll meet the legendary racehorse trainer, Mr. Wayne Lucas. Don't go away. Well, some of these youngsters set foot on the historic green shavings here in Louisville, Kentucky at NAILE. They're following in the footsteps, not only of their parents, but for some of them, their grandparents. Now, the history involved here goes way back. These youngsters are getting a life's education in the livestock industry. For some, go buckle. For some, not so lucky. But for the very select few, go buckle dreams do come true.
Hi, I'm Keith Harding. I'm from Leicestershire in England, and I'm here at the North American to judge Lincoln Longwool sheep. On my left we have one of our coloured Lincoln Longwools, and on my right we have a white Lincoln Longwool. So when I'm judging a Lincoln Longwool, what I'm doing is looking for an active sheep. And I'm going to ask our two candidates here today just to walk up so I can comment on what I'm looking for. So if you'd like to go off, ladies. So these sheep are walking away from me, and I'm looking to see how their legs are placed. A leg out of each corner. Now obviously these are two good examples of the breed. We're looking to see how gaily they walk and how active they are. Now obviously a sheep has to be able to eat. A sheep only has teeth on its bottom jaw, and we're looking to make sure that the teeth sit cleanly on the pad. The teeth can be either overshot or undershot, which is a fault, so I'm going to look at its mouth, make sure that the teeth sit neatly on the pad. I'm looking at its eyes to make sure there's no sign of entropion, no sign of an intern eyelid. And then I'm going to look at the sheep to see how well developed it is. I'm going to put my hand over its ribs. I'm looking to see if I can feel the either side of the rib. If it's very sharp, then this animal is not undernourished, but certainly a little thin. And if I can't feel anything, then obviously it's too fat. As you'd expect from this prize winner, it's in very good condition. Now I'm then going to look at the wool. I'm going to part the wool, and you can see we've got a very bright, a very white, a very lustrous face, and that's what the Lincoln Longwool is about. Most sheep are grown for meat. These sheep are grown to produce their wool. And we're looking for a nice bright white wool. We're looking for no black spots on it. This wool will very likely be dyed a different colour, and obviously if it had a black mark in it, it wouldn't take the dye very evenly. Now if you were to spin this wool, you'd want to make sure that it had no break in it. So what I'm going to do is to test its strength by separating out one lock and pulling it like this to make sure that there are no breaks in it. If this ewe had had a shock during its life, there would be a break in the wool. So I'm now just going to ask the competitor just to stand the sheep nice and square, to bring that front right leg forward, just indeed as the exhibitor of the black sheep is doing. And that's the Lincoln Longwool breed. This is precisely what we're looking for. It would stand a very good chance of winning a prize in any class throughout the world. It's been my pleasure to come to the North American. Thank you for asking me.
Coming up next here on Stock Show Confidential, the president and CEO of this great event, Mr. Harold Workman. Don't go anywhere. Stock Show Confidential is brought to you by the following sponsors: Sullivan Show Supply and Stock Show University, SureChamp, Showmaster Feeds, StockShowConfidential.com, Rogers Ford, and Paragon Bed Covers.
Sullivan Show Supply was established with the vision of producing more than just your ordinary show supply products. Whether it's fitting supplies you're looking for or the latest equipment, everything you need to make it into the winner's circle is right here. Don't just take it from me, take it from them. Sullivan Show Supply will be here before and after the sale.
Well, I'm with Harold Workman. He is the president and CEO of the Kentucky State Fair Board, and obviously very involved here at the North American Livestock Expo. Harold, tell me how you got started with the Expo Center here.
Well, it was, I guess, by luck as much as anything else. I went to school at the University of Kentucky and majored in animal science. And so in '74, there was an announcement made to start a major livestock show by our governor at that time, who was Wendell Ford. And being in the position I was in, it naturally came my way. So I began the management of the, at that time, North American Livestock Exposition. We had international later on.
You know, one of the things that's synonymous with the North American Livestock Expo is obviously the green shavings that we're sitting here looking at. Tell me how that got started.
In 1973, I was at the American Royal in Kansas City, and they were using a big green wood chip. It wasn't like the shaving exactly, but you know, I liked the look of it, so I came back and talked to the owner at that time, Roy Gibson of Peter Supply Company. I said, you know, I'd love to do that for the North American. Let's make it different. So he got to researching it and came up with a way to dye the shavings, and it has evolved over the years. And obviously, they're in lots of places now, and even different colors as we go throughout the country. But that's really how it came about.
Yeah, this is the largest purebred show anywhere in the world.
It is. It is. We promote it that way, and no one has challenged us, so it must be true.
You know, it's not only the purebred show, but there's also a lot of other activities that go on here as far as your national collegiate judging competition, as well as the national 4-H judging competition. Let's talk a little bit about those youth that are involved in that part of our industry.
Well, we've always emphasized youth programs. Jack Ragsdale, who is chairman of our executive committee and has been involved ever since we began in North America back in '74, has always been a proponent of youth. And he wants to be sure that we are really paying more emphasis to the youth programs, maybe even than to the open programs. And if you look at the entries that we have, not just showing out here, but the other activities for youth, it's very strong. Those continue to grow. We've hosted the National Collegiate Livestock Judging Contest almost since the inception of the Expo, and the National 4-H Livestock Judging Contest, and a Junior College Livestock Judging Contest.
One of the things when we talk about the youth that are involved, let's talk about them a little bit as far as they're our future leaders of this industry, and this is very, very important in setting the groundwork for them.
Well, there's no doubt about that, and I've talked to a lot of the open show exhibitors here even this year, and they're talking about the industry and where's it going to go. And I said, well, our youth programs here are growing. Our youth show entries are up. That's what's going to keep your industry alive, is the youth that are here today, who are having a great experience, who are showing livestock, who understand the value of the show ring and the performance records that go along with that. And it will be a healthy industry for a long time if we can keep these youth programs as important a part of the industry that we try to make it.
Whenever we come to these livestock shows, they're not just showing animals, they're making memories that last a lifetime. They're making friends through our industry that helps them on down the road as they start their business careers.
There's no doubt about that, because especially like livestock expos such as this, where you have entries from all over the United States and Canada. Matter of fact, we'll have entries from usually all lower 48 states and Canadian entries, as well as international visitors.
Well, and that's one thing that I think is probably a little bit different about the show, is where y'all do a live feed, actually. So if people are unable to attend, or if they come for the first part and they go home, they can actually log on to their computer and see exactly what's going on in the show ring at all times.
They can, but we also obviously see who is logging in, how long they're staying on, how many countries are involved. So it has continued to grow throughout the years, and we think it's an important part of our industry.
Well, thanks for sitting down and visiting with us. We wish you continued success here at the North American Livestock Expo. And if you're ever in Louisville, Kentucky, and you're not here for the horse races, be sure and check out the North American Livestock Expo. You will not be disappointed. You know, raising and competing show animals takes more than good nutrition. It takes determination, dedication, and hard work, traits that are hallmarks to leaders. And that's why Showmaster is proud to feed the potential of the youth leaders through their educational programs, award programs, and support of the 4-H and FFA. Showmaster Feed continues to build the legacy of building champions through their innovative feed programs and nutritional research. Showmaster Feeds. Feed their potential. Welcome back to Stock Show Confidential. Before the break, we heard from Mr. Harold Workman. Now let's take you over to the cattle barn. We're going to visit with Gerald Buck. He's one of our judges at this prestigious event.
I'm Gerald Buck from Madill, Oklahoma, and we produce Maine Anjou cattle and Herefords. We're here in Louisville. Actually just judged the Simmental influence females today and bulls, and judged the Junior Angus a couple of days ago. And then I had my daughter actually exhibited the champion Hereford female here a few days ago as well. So we've had a big week here in Louisville. And excellent class of females. Congratulations. Well, I started showing cattle on a local level, really, a local and county level. When I was 9 years old, I had two older sisters, and they were involved. And as got older and got more involved, and began to get some opportunities to go help other purebred breeders across the country and helping them and showing livestock. And we spent several years at that before I got started with my own cow herd and own purebred cow herd. And now then, that's what we do for a living. We run purebred cattle. We have 2 annual sales a year in March and October, and probably 75% of those cattle are marketed to junior exhibitors. And so we spend the rest of the year with those exhibitors, working with them, whether we're advising them on feed or advising them on breeding decisions or marketing decisions. That's what our program is based on. There's not another program in the world like the junior livestock program. The North American here in Louisville is definitely one of the largest livestock shows in the country. We've been coming here for several years, and the quality of livestock and the quality of exhibitors here is just second to none. It's definitely a great event to attend, and we're a firm believer in the program. It's definitely been valued to my daughter as she started college, and the people she's met, the cattle and the livestock that she's been around, the involvement of that, it's just been great.
Caseous lymphadenitis, also known as CL, is a condition found in goats and lambs. Now what happens is large pus pocket cysts are formed on the bodies of these animals. Let's hear from our expert, Dr. Casey Tweeten King, about this very serious condition.
What's CL?
Caseous lymphadenitis in goats is caused by a bacterial infection. Oftentimes it's introduced through some sort of a small trauma, and that bacteria gets into their system and it kind of just inhabits all those lymph nodes.
Say, how do you know if my goat has it?
What you're going to see is swelling of the lymph nodes in goats. Sometimes they can be painful, sometimes they're inappetent, that sort of thing. The biggest thing is when you're looking at, swelling of the lymph nodes, you have to worry about actual internal abscesses as well. But it's a bacterial infection that commonly causes those problems. Another thing, to look at when you're looking at whether or not your goat might have this is, again, inappetence.
How do I prevent it?
Again, the biggest thing is oftentimes this is a disease of multiple animals, of a big populated area. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot to prevent it other than cull the infected animals. If you have any animals on your place that you suspect may have it, it's something that you can kind of get by with and take care of when it comes to your breeding stock. But when you're looking at show animals, it's